You could do with online stories, you could actually put a link so you could track it that way, or ask people where they heard about you. You could do things like that. The thing with publicity, it's not so much always a direct lead generator. It can be, but the idea of it is to consistently put yourself out there as the expert and be known as the expert, so that when media are looking for a expert in your area, they know to come back to you. And that's what happens once you get known out there by certain journalists. They will come back to you looking for more expert opinion. And you know, one media contact, however, could take things exponential for you. And this is what actually happened to Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, he actually put the book out in 1997. And it wasn't until 2000 he actually was on Oprah. It was the 27th of April, 2000. And at the end of the 1 hour show, Oprah turned to him and said, "Congratulations, Rich Dad. We've just sold you 1 million books." Now, at the time, he was making $5 US per book. Okay, so that can happen. I mean, that's Oprah, that's major media. However, even in your local media, amazing things can happen. I had a filmmaker that I worked with here on the Gold Coast a while ago. We had a story in the local paper, in the Bulletin, and within 24 to 48 hours of that story coming out about his film project, he got offered $200,000 in funding for that film from someone who saw the story. So you don't know exactly who's going to see it. However, it is very, very powerful to leverage yourself, particularly if you're busy. Who here is busy in business? You feel like you've got a million things to do and can feel really overwhelmed with it all sometimes. Well, if you want to get the cut through, getting publicity is definitely a great way to do that. Sharon says, raise your profile. Absolutely. Raising your profile is huge. Now, I am known as the media queen. Why, you may ask? Well, people have a lot of trouble saying my name, Aldwyn, Altuney, and so it's good to have a catchy brand that summarizes what you do, particularly if they are challenged by your name. So I suggest look at this also. If you want to be seen and heard above the noise out there, then consider a brand for yourself. So, for example, the Reno Kings was quite a big brand in renovations. We have Wizard of Words, which is a copywriter. We have Quantum Queen. We have Empowered Survivor is one of our clients who survived 7 rapes, and she now helps empower women to overcome trauma. So think about that, 2 or 3 words ideally. Actually, I'm just working now with a property buyer in Brisbane who we've just branded Property Prince. So that was a really nice, catchy name for him. And of course, he's getting that trademarked. It's all underway, etc. at the moment. So that's something to consider if you're really serious about it, to get it trademarked as well. And it would definitely help you stand out. Also, if you have a cartoon, and this cartoon idea, the caricature, came from one of my favorite shows growing up, was I Dream of Jeannie. Who liked I Dream of Jeannie? I used to love that show. And the little cartoon at the beginning goes dun 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 dun. You know, it's very, very memorable, right? The cartoons, and it kind of makes you larger than life as well. And so I encourage you also, when you consider your branding, consider having a image that's going to stand out, such as this media queen one here. This stands out, and it also says something about what I stand for. It says that you can put the crown on your own head. You don't need to be born into royalty to put yourself out there. It also celebrates my uniqueness, and my uniqueness is, just as you'll have your uniqueness that you're known for, is my big hair and my big smile, right? I'm known for that. It's also about having fun with what you do. And my nose is definitely not that big. Okay. So, you know, it's about being able to have fun with yourself and not take yourself too seriously, particularly when it comes to putting yourself out in the media. Because, you know, often when we get nervous, it's because we're too focused on ourselves, right? So it's about, what I'm about is helping people share their truth and show up the best version of themselves. And that comes when we're looking at being of service as opposed to having the attention on ourselves. So there's a journey people go on when they go to consider getting publicity. And it starts right here. This is my rocket ship model to getting publicity. It starts as you're the world's best kept secret. Who feels like the world's best kept secret right now? Just pop a yes in the chat if that's you. You're the world's best kept secret right now. Well, everyone starts that way. You know, as a journalist, I've had the great fortune to interview people like Hugh Jackman, Cyndi Lauper, Russell Crowe, some phenomenal people that we admire, or maybe not so many Russell Crowe, but you know, some of his antics. However, you know, he's a great actor. And you know, we all start there, and they all started there. All the celebrities we know, we all start here. When no one's actually born famous, unless they're actually in the royal family. Generally, they're born famous. But generally, we start as the world's best kept secret. And then the very first place is we actually make a start. And 50% of anything you do is just starting. So we make a start. So you being here today, learning about this is a great start. And then the next thing, you consider getting some media out there, and you get some steady runs on the board. You start to get some local media coverage. And before you know it, you're getting major media coverage, and you're now targeting potentially major media as well. And you're shooting for the stars. And next thing you know, you are a star. That's the rocket ship model to gaining publicity and to getting yourself out there. There's certain keys to success that are important on this journey. Now, the very first key is passion. If you're not passionate about what you're doing, then I suggest ask yourself, what are you doing? Because a third of people die by the age of 65, one third, right? And we've seen even more now lately. Obviously, since COVID, we've seen people dropping off in their 50s, having heart attacks, Shane Warne. It's just, the list goes on, right? More and more people seem to be just dropping off in the last 2 years. And so we think we have ages to do things. We think, oh, we'll do that later, right? I just suggest look in your life. What are you really passionate about? That if money wasn't an issue, you would be doing that thing. If money wasn't an issue, what would you do? And what are you doing now where time just flows, where you're in the zone and you know that when it is, and it could be what you're doing now, or it may be something else, or maybe something else that you could monetize on the side that you love. So what are you passionate about? And this ties in very closely with purpose as well. Bob Proctor, the late great Bob Proctor, he died recently at 87 years of age, just a month or two ago. Amazing man. He worked right up until the end of his life, because for him, it wasn't like work. As they say, love what you do, you never have to work another day in your life, right? He loved what he did at 87 years of age. He worked right through, and he had a video on YouTube, and you can actually look this up. He's got a video out there called How Do You Find Your Purpose? And he says the answer to that question he gives is do what you love. Do as much as you can of what you love every single day. And that's how you find your purpose. And generally that ties very closely with passion, right? So that's the stuff you love is what you're passionate about. And there could be other passions too that tie in with, like, it could be a passionate cause that you have or something like that. So and that often ties with people's personal stories. So that's a good place to look too, is what is it that moves you? What is it that moves you out there, where you get angered or saddened by something? There's some passion coming out there when you notice those things, particularly with the media lately, right? How you package up what you do for a journalist is very different to packaging up a blog article or things for social media. It's a very different ballgame. And journalists know when people know what they're doing when they pitch to a journalist. Now, a lot of PR agencies, unfortunately, come from an advertising background, and they don't know what journalists are looking for. In fact, often many newsrooms will get about 500 press releases a day, and many of them end up in the bin, all right, because they're not relevant, they're too commercial. So how you package up what you do is really crucial. And I'll run through some ideas on that today. Your profile, what happens when people Google you, right? Journalists are going to Google you, right? If they're going to consider doing a story with you, are they going to see video content online? Are they going to see how you come across on camera? Particularly for TV crews, that's really important. They want good talent, right? They want to see you coming across confidently on your message online. So if you don't have video content out there right now, I encourage you to start to do that, because it's a great way to build trust and credibility, and also connection. A lot of people are really disconnected right now. As much as we're more connected in some ways than ever online, in many ways people are very disconnected. So your profile is really important. Are you Googleicious? Are you Googleicious? And someone Googles you, what are they going to find?
I love that word.
It's a great word, yeah. So, is there consistent messaging across the board? Is there consistent branding, etc.? When you Google yourself, what do you find? It's a good exercise to do every so often. And if you want an alternative view, then look at a different search engine such as DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo will have uncensored content, whereas Google nowadays and Facebook, as a lot of censored content has come out in the last 2 years, very interestingly. And I always say, if there's nothing to hide, why is there so much censorship happening in mainstream media? And so hence the whole emergence now of alternative media. That's a whole other ball game now. It's very interesting times we're in. So profile is really important. People, everything is done with people and connections. Right? We've got a small group here of people. However, you never know who the people know who are here, right? And people connecting with journalists is the same kind of thing, right? The journalists will love you if you help them out with their job. They are very, very busy people. Now, when I started at the Gold Coast Sun, I was doing 5 stories a week when I was there in 2000. By the time I left in 2005, I was doing 30 stories a week as a journalist, from 5 to 30. So what happened is we used to have a Gold Coast Sun, a Hinterland Sun, for anyone who remembers those days. And what happened is the News Limited decided to release 5 papers instead of 2. So they changed the whole thing. They had an Upper North edition, a North edition, Central edition, South edition, and Tweed edition. Right? Suddenly we had 5 papers and no extra journalists, right? So this is the kind of pressure that journalists are under. And so they tend to speak very fast. They go, go, go. And so when you pitch to journalists, it's important that you also have a sense of urgency about you and look at what they want and how you can help them with their job. And then that becomes a win-win scenario for everybody. There's a process to getting publicity, which I'll outline shortly as well. And then once you get the publicity, what are you then doing with that publicity? For those that have had publicity in the past, where is that publicity? Is it up on your websites? Is it online? Have you thanked the journalist? You know, these are all things you can do to propel. Thank the journalist, tag the media outlet, etc. Lots of ways you can propel your message once you get that publicity and make the most of it. Now, before we go in any further, this scale of consciousness here is absolutely crucial to how we do life and the types of opportunities that we are going to attract, what we'll attract and what we will repel in our lives. Now, this scale of consciousness, this was done by a guy called Dr. Hawkins, and over 20 years of research, he found that we are actually 99.9% energy, frequency, and vibration, and we vibrate at different frequencies when we are in different emotions. And when you get in these emotions here on the left, we're vibrating different frequencies. So if you're at 0, you're dead. So no one's dead here. So shame is the lowest. If you have shame over anything, then you're vibrating at 20 hertz. Okay. If you have guilt over anything, you're at 30 hertz whenever you go into those moments. When you're angry, you're vibrating at 150 hertz. So, you know, sometimes you see people and you think, oh, I just don't feel like you're on the same wavelength. You know, or don't feel connected, not on the same frequency. Well, this is actually true. We are actually human vibrators, right? We are actually vibrating all the time, right? And when we get into love and joy, now we talked about passion. When you're in passion, you're right up there at 540. And gratitude is also up there at 540 hertz. You're at gratitude there as well. Your highest vibration is then above that is peace. So meditation is really a brilliant thing to practice, or, you know, getting in touch with spirit, whatever that looks like for you. Peace, enlightenment is 700 plus. That goes up to 700 to 1,000 on this scale. And you can see and this all ties in with your chakra points as well, which is also scientifically proven, your chakra points, your chakra colors, from contracted down the bottom right up to expanded up the top, right? So the more expanded we are in how we do life, the more opportunities we'll attract in business, with the media, with everything, the more that we will have a greater experience of life. And I do believe that is why we're here, that we're all here for a purpose, and we're here to make the most of our lives, of our precious short lives we have on the planet, right? If you think of eternity and you think our life is like over like that, right? So if you consider eternity. So, you know, really there's no time like the present, and to get conscious to where are we vibrating at any moment. Now, I've actually had depression in the past. I was bullied as a kid in Sydney. I grew up as a first generation Australian. I have Greek, Turkish, and Ukrainian background, and I was bullied because of my name, because of the food I took to school. I felt invisible for a long time. I felt not seen, not heard, had a few traumatic experiences in my younger years, and became very angry with the world, and also watching the media. My dad used to watch the media, the news every single night, right? Not just one news channel. He would go from one news channel to the next news channel. It was like 2 hours of negative news every night. And I remember one night in tears as a kid, and I was watching the news, and I said, Dad, why is the world like this? Why are people so cruel? And he said, darling, he said, that's just how the world is. And so I believe that's how the world was for a long time. And I thought, what's the point of even being here? What's the point of even being here if that's how the world is, you know? And it's, you know, of course, like the yin yang of life, of course, there's going to be dark forces. There's always going to be dramas going on, and there's going to be people doing amazing things on the other side of that. So what are we choosing to focus on? Where are we going to put our attention? And so I was very contracted for a long time. I was right down here. And in fact, the world right now is vibrating between 75 to 100 hertz. It's vibrating pretty low at the moment, right? So now more than ever, it's important that we lift our vibration up this scale. And love and above, they call it, love and above. And this is why also I'm really passionate about getting more positive stories out in the media, and any negative can be turned into a positive. Any negative can be turned into a positive. In fact, one press release we did last year, we said, we put a press release out for a doctor who's now living in Canada. He was on the Gold Coast. And we said, fear of COVID is making people sick. And then we had some positives in this story saying these are some things people can do to boost their immune system. You know, drink plenty of fresh water, you know, fresh air, etc. You know, just simple things, you know, whole foods, simple strategies to help people boost their immune system during the fear of COVID. Right. And that ended up on Channel 7, Channel 9, ended up in the Bulletin, ended up all over the place. Right. So, you know, any negative can be turned to a positive. And even now, journalists are looking for what people are doing around COVID. How are they coping right now around COVID? How are you coping? How are you as the pivoting? You know, that magic word keeps popping up. You know, what have you done since COVID is a hot topic still 2 years on. Now, I have an awesome media magic formula, and the awesome, and I actually have my little magic wand here, which I'm going to wave over you here, wave my magic wand, and that's there to give you love and light and to, you know, allow yourself to step up, because, you know, we're brought up to seek permission for everything, aren't we? You know, going to school, it's like, you know, teacher, can I go to the bathroom? Can I, you know, like we're taught to get permission from others from a young age, you know, and this is about giving yourself permission. You are allowed to step up. It's okay, right? And the A of the awesome step stands for articulating your story. Your X factor is your story. No one else has your story. Now, you've beaten about 1 billion swimmers to get to the finish line just by being born. There's a reason you're here, right? That's the first race you ever won, right? You're 1 in 1 billion just by being born. And I do believe that all the challenges that we have, that they're all there to teach us things, you know, and there's going to be times we're going to go up and down Dr. Hawkins' scale of consciousness. We're going to go up here at times. We're going to go down there. It's just about how long are we going to choose to stay down there? You know, and when I was in my depressed days and before I did any personal development, I used to stay in some low moments for months at a time back when I was getting a lot of depression. And, you know, nowadays I can come out of things very, very quick. You know, when I do get triggered, I just notice, I go, what's the learning here? What's the learning, right? And taking full responsibility for everything in my life. And that's the only really powerful place to stand, is taking 100% responsibility, because I do believe we attract everything into our lives ourselves, whether we consciously realize it or not. So the first step is articulating your story. So look at what is your product, your service, your message, and what is your story behind that? What is unique or different about your story? The second part of this, the W of the awesome steps, is to work angles. Now, I have 9 different angles that I go through in my free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. I don't have time to go through all of those right now. However, generally in this step, look at what is new, unique, or newsworthy about what you do. Now, there's different times of year that we can actually tie in with different angles. So we've just had International Women's Day, Queensland Women's Week. We've got Mother's Day coming up. We've got end of financial year. We've got Small Business Week, Mental Health Week, Are You Okay Day. There's so many things, Christmas, Easter, so many things that we can tie an angle in around with something that's already out there in the media. When I do my animal action events, often we tie it in with World Animal Week, which is the 4th to the 10th of October. And we'll do an event in line with that. So look at an angle that you can tie in, which is what journalists are looking for. What is an angle that is newsworthy or new or unique or interesting to them? Now, if you haven't shared your personal story, then that will be a new angle for them. They haven't heard your story before. Ideally here with working the angles, it's important to have a date on your press releases when you put them out. And this is in the E step here, the elevate your profile is about how you package up what you do. So ideally you'll need a press release, you need some good visuals, and you need a good pitch as well. Now, the press release is a 1-page, basically like an article summarizing what you do with a good, strong angle. It's written very differently to a blog article. And to elevate your profile, you need a great press release, a good angle, something with a date. Otherwise, things will get held over and held over. So it could be a book launch. It could be something special you're doing. It could be I started a good news day on the 8th of the 8th, 18, after my 4th friend suicided. And during COVID, I've started a global good news challenge. And that happens every month at different dates. So have something with a date in mind when you're looking at elevating your profile. The next step, the S, is about startling the media. And Sir Richard Branson of Virgin fame, he was brilliant at this. Now, he dressed in a wedding dress to launch the Virgin Brides venture. He dressed in a spacesuit to launch Virgin Galactic. right? So what are you prepared to do to actually be interesting and colorful with what you do? Because the media don't just want to educate, they want to entertain as well. So if you can be entertaining with what you do, then you'll get more airtime. The O is about owning your power and doing whatever it takes to build your own confidence and your own also resilience, right? Now, there's one thing that all the celebrities I've interviewed have in common that have lasted as a celebrity, have stayed out there as a celebrity, and that is resilience. And it's important because the more we step up, we're going to have people that love us and people that hate us, even more so than we do now, because we're always going to have people that love us and hate us, right? So you're just going to get more people that love you and hate you the more you step up. And so it's important, the more you stand in your truth and your own power and what is your purpose and why you're here and why you're so passionate about what you do, the more you bring that to your media interviews, you'll be able to master your interviews. There's certain things to do before, during, and after interviews really to make the most of it. However, today for the main points here is to remember 3 main points that you want to get across in your interview. What are 3 main points that you want to get across? And stick to those 3 main points. Usually at the end of an interview, a journalist will say, is there anything else you want to cover? And always check with them, can you mention your website, to use that as a lead generator, or give an offer to the readers, listeners, viewers at the end of your interview. So ideally, when you can have a call to action at the end, do that. However, the main point needs to be about being of service, not as in you're selling your widget. If you're going to the media saying you're going to sell your widget, they're going to say, take out an ad and spend thousands of dollars on that ad. Okay, so it needs to be about how does your widget, or how does what you do, your product, service, message, how does this help the wider community? So that's what journalists are looking for. How is this relevant to their audience? The mastering interviews is crucial. The better you are at interviews too, you'll get asked back again and again. In fact, I had a few of my clients on a show called Tech Webcast. This is a podcast that had over 1 million downloads in 8 years. I had a few of my clients on there, and then because the guy that hosted it, he said, oh, can you introduce your clients? And because of how I came across on that show, he then asked me to co-host that show. So I then for 3 years co-hosted Tech Webcast with 2 guys from Victoria and 1 guy from America who I never met. And, this is the kind of opportunity that can come. I was on Ticker TV. I was on twice, actually, and they want me back. Like they want me back again. So if you come across well, if you're passionate and you're clear and concise with what you're saying, they will ask you back again, and you will get repeat interviews and other opportunities as well. And then E is about exploding your impact, how to then make the most of that publicity once you get it. So one thing you can do is you can email your database, let them know you just featured in the media, put it on your website, put it in your social media. We actually do media success images for our mass media mastery clients, and we always thank the journalists, thank the media outlet, and then often they will actually share that image as well, and they'll share it on their social media or share it online. And if the press release is well enough written, that will also get shared on the different media websites as well as their social media, which also have sometimes millions of followers, hundreds of thousands, millions of followers also there. So really this mass media world is very, very powerful times we're living in. Facebook only started in 2004. It's not that long ago, right? It's not even 20 years ago. It's 18 years ago Facebook started. And now we're at a time with out of the 7.9 billion people on the planet, we have 3.9 billion active social media users. So half the world's population are on social media, and that's where journalists are too, and that's where they're looking for stories. And a lot of people are actually getting picked up for mainstream media stories from their social media, which is very interesting as well with that at the moment. Once you do that, the benefits you're going to get is you're going to build your fame, you're going to build your fortune. The fame is in being famous in your industry. That will then lead to more money, and you'll be able to magnetize clients. Rather than doing a lot of push marketing, you'll be able to magnetize and have people come to you. I get opportunities nearly every day now. I get people on LinkedIn and all over the place to contact me to either speak at their events or to appear on their podcast. Or, people, once you build your name and your profile to a certain level, you'll start to attract opportunities to yourself, which is really cool. And that's when you're in flow and in the zone, right? That will bring you more freedom. And then also with every media spot you get, you are leaving a legacy. Every single media spot. Now, I mentioned I had 4 friends that suicided up until the age of 45. Now, the only things we had to remember them by was a few photos. But they didn't have any video content out there. Every single time you get coverage, you are leaving a legacy. So something to really consider, because we don't know how long any of us will be around, right? And, you know, it's important to sort of have a reality check on that and really make the most of every moment. Now, this is a way that you can lift your vibration, and also you can promote yourself for free. This is the Global Good News Challenge. I started this in June 2000, and every month we have different challenges. It starts on the first Monday of every month, and it's a Facebook Live challenge. If you haven't done a Facebook Live yet, I challenge you to do a Facebook Live. Okay, if you haven't done it, it's a very, very powerful way to connect, and it's a very simple video that you do, and you just basically share your name, what you do, 3 things you're grateful for, and a piece of good news. And that could be any good news, something about a happy client, something you're doing in your business, something you've seen on a good news channel online. We've got Good News Network, Sunny Skies News, news.com.au has good news sections. There's lots of places you can get other good news. However, why not use this as a chance to share your good news? Your good news could be that you're alive and you're grateful and you live in a fantastic part of the world where there's no wars on right now or no floods, right? That could be your good news. You know, it could be something simple like that. And it's amazing how powerful you will feel when you do this. You will just feel amazing. If you're feeling crap going into your Facebook Live, by the time you come out of the Facebook Live, you'll feel amazing, because you'll be sharing gratitude, which will lift your energy, and it'll lift the energy of everyone who is seeing that good news challenge. And potentially you could be saving lives out there. You'll be inspiring people and potentially saving lives as well, because, you know, a lot more people at the moment are not coping so well with what's going on in the world. And, you know, we actually have 4 times the suicide rates during COVID. Normally the suicide rate's about 1 million a year, but through COVID, 4 times the rate of suicide, right? So a lot of people are really struggling. So the more you lift your vibration, the more you'll inspire your friends, your family, your community, your clients, etc. Now, if you hashtag Global Good News Challenge when you do this, then we will also share your Good News Challenge into our Loving Life group, which has got about 2,000 members there, and we'll share it to the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page. So all the details, if you missed all of that, then just look to the Global Good News Challenge Facebook page, pinned to the top of the page. You'll see the full details on how to participate in that. Now, also we have a social media masterclass. Now, here I specifically focus more on how you can use your social media to get journalists' attention. And we talk about marketing on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube. Now, even if you don't want to be across all those social media outlets, it's still good to understand, to get to know. These are really the main ones out there, to understand these ones. And for those that are on TikTok, have a TikTok and go to TikTok. It's a tongue twister. For those that are on TikTok, I don't do much with TikTok, and I don't go into that. I find it to be quite a big time waster. I can just watch videos, cat videos and things there all the time. So I don't do much with TikTok, but some people are getting more into that now, and some people are using it for business, but that's not what I focus on. So that's coming up April 9. I've got an online event that goes for 4 hours, and that is great if you want to know more about social media marketing. Then I have a free webinar also coming up if you'd like to find out more about what we're talking about today, how to gain over $1 million worth of free positive publicity. That's coming up on Thursday, April 14. It's from 11 a.m. till 1 p.m. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. for that one. That's a free webinar. And you'll see I put my Linktree link into the chat, Linktree/Aldwyn, where you can get all these links. Actually, I'm not sure if that one's been updated. I'll check it if it hasn't. Otherwise, go to Eventbrite. Follow me in Eventbrite. You'll get all our events in there. There's also the Free Publicity Secrets Masterclass. This is a 4-hour masterclass. We go into a lot of detail here. We've had people attend this event, go straight out and get publicity for those that are action takers. And the next one of those coming up in May, 11 till 3 p.m. That's also on Zoom. And that's $197 for tickets, and you can purchase a recording and slides as well for those ones, for those who can't make the actual physical events. Really content packed. We only have a 10-minute break in both those events. So they're full on. The 4-hour events, they go. And the 2-hour event, we don't have any breaks. The webinar goes straight through. Now, for those who want more support on this journey and don't just want to buy another online program, then there's these programs here. There's the Ignite and the Illuminate programs that I do, where we have one-on-one time, depending how much one-on-one time you want and how much support. I have 2 different versions, the Ignite and Illuminate programs, and these are all up on my website. And if you want to have a chat about any of those, we can do that. So just reach out. I'll put my link in there. So that's for more support with that. And I also do PR for some people. There's some select clients that I'll actually do PR for them. But there's only select few that I'll take on board with that, where we actually do all their marketing and come on like a marketing manager. But for some people, they're looking for that. So Linktree is where you'll find all the links, Linktree/Aldwyn. There's the QR code if you want to scan that, or otherwise just get it out of the chat. Just pop the link out of the chat, Linktree/Aldwyn, LANKTR.ee/Aldwyn. And I have a special offer today for you. We have the media strategy session one-on-one with me, a ticket to one of my 4-hour masterclasses, either the free Publicity Secrets or social media masterclass, to any of the upcoming ones, and an autographed copy of one of my books. And these are the three. I'm actually in about 14 compilation books, but these are one that you can choose from. There's this one called Think Big, which has got Arnold Schwarzenegger in it. And they're all compilation books with inspiring business people. And this one here is Elevate Your Mindset. And that had Dr. John DeMartini did the forward of that one. And this is Visions of Success as well. So there's those 3 books. So you can pick one of any of those 3 books, which we'll autograph for you and get that to you. And the special offer today is that it's just $197 for all of that, which is crazy value. And you won't see this anywhere else. So just at special events that I offer this, and today that is the offer, $197 for all of those things. So if you're interested in that, we can book a call and make that happen. The world is your oyster, my friends. And this is really what it's all about. Shining bright. I believe in the power of one, and I believe in you. May your flame burn bright and light up all those around you. As Gandhi says, be the change you wish to see in the world. If it's to be, it's up to us, right? Thank you so much for having me here today. I'll take Q&A if anyone has any questions, comments, anything they'd like to share. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Aldwyn. That was just brilliant.
Thank you.
Unmute yourself, people, and any questions. I know that a couple of people had to leave and will be watching the recording, but I'm sure they'll get in touch with you with their questions.
Wonderful.
I even added, I found my notes from the Rabina group that you spoke at a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
And I've added more notes to those notes today. So it's so true. Every time, it doesn't matter how many times you hear something, when you're ready to take note of that, could be a completely other time. So I appreciated being able to add to my notes this morning and their reminders and whatever. I love the wand. I just love the wand. So thanks again for sharing that.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Janet. They say we need to hear things 7 times apparently to get it. So, and I never quite know what I'm going to say at any event. Different things come out depending on where I'm at, even though some of the slides might be the same. But I just, whatever comes. I just sort of let it flow. So that's great that you picked up some new things there, Janet. Thank you so much. Any questions, or what did some other people get here? What did you get out of that? What are some things maybe you can take action on from this now?
I thought it was a great presentation, and thank you so much. I got a lot out of it, and really nice to hear someone that has a background like you that talks about meditation, chakra alignment, all those things. I mean, that's not something that you normally get in the business world, and certainly not in my profession, even though a lot of those things that you're talking about in real estate, it's a very cutthroat business, and we need to incorporate all those things in our everyday life for self-care so we can take care of ourselves. So really nice to see that you incorporate that into your business. So I really appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, thank you, Kanda. Thank you. Well, it's really at the crux of everything, really, is how we show up in life. If we want, I can give you every media strategy in the world, but if you don't believe in yourself, and if you're not a positive kind of person in general, and this is not being like rah-rah like Tony Robbins, you don't have to go, but generally, like, if you're not coming from a loving space and you're not coming from your own truth, if you're not speaking your own truth, then potentially you're living a lie. And unfortunately, a lot of people are living a lie because they play very small lives, and they're too scared to speak up about things because they're worried about what might happen. happen, you know, and this fear is just blocking people. And so when we rise above that fear and get conscious to where we're actually vibrating at, it's amazing what we can attract. So it's really the heart of who we are.
So really nice to hear that, you know, in your presentation. So thank you.
I totally agree. And we need to hear it more. People need to be aware of their energy, what they're projecting, and what makes them them, and understand that and not think of it as woohoo. It's real.
Yes.
Yeah, it is real. I mean, look, a lot of people, I mean, I've been doing all sorts of things, energy work for years. I mean, I started, you know, back in the late 90s, early 2000s. You know, I did a lot of energy work myself and on myself. And everyone thought I was crazy. These days it is a little bit more mainstream, but in my business, no one talks about, you know, really talks about this kind of stuff.
And you'd think they would in real estate.
You do. I mean,
because people pick up the vibe of a home they're going to visit.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, they talk about it a little bit, but not to this extent. I mean, not on the outside. Like, it's not something that I actually, you know, really project into my business. It's not something that I share with my clients, even though these are all practices that I do myself and I strongly believe in them. They have no idea what I do behind the scenes in order to get their property sold or to attract the right buyer to their property or whatever. I use all these techniques, but it's not really mainstream in my industry. And maybe this has sort of given me a bit of a kickstart to maybe make that a little bit more vocal, be a little bit more vocal about that side of our business. That's actually what we do. Maybe that can become our point of difference.
Yeah, that might be time for you to start that conversation, because your sellers are really going to be thinking about energy regardless of whether they talk about it or not. So just bring in those small little topics that you can, you know, talk about the energy of the house when you walk into it. This is what you could do. And then you be the one, absolutely, point of difference in your business. Yeah,
from our residential point of view, on that side of the business, it's easy and it does make sense. And we do have those little conversations when we talk about that. But I deal with a lot of developers. I'm dealing with a lot of men, very A-type personalities, and they would just dismiss me. I mean, you know, I'm you know, being a woman and you know, basically, you know, doing acquiring sites for developers and working in that space. There's not many female real estate agents that actually do that, and to be taken seriously. So it's like, well, I've got to figure out, how do I package this up and present it so that it's not woo-woo, and to have them take me seriously. So I think maybe I have to really set some intentions on how I do that.
Yeah, Kanda, are most of your clients men? Are they? Mostly men? Okay.
Yeah. They're pretty much all the developers that we work with. They're all men.
Okay.
And very and basically a lot of them are narcissistic. So that's who I'm dealing with.
Got it. Gosh, you've got a challenging job on your hands.
I do have a very, very challenging job. And look, this is not a space that we actually fell into this space during COVID. It started with one big development site that we sold. And now, you know, I'm working on a site at the Gold Coast. It's probably going to end up being about a $90 million deal. And it's going to take us 6 months to put together. But, you know, these are the people that I'm dealing with. A lot of them are, you know, A-type personalities, and they are mainly narcissistic men. So I've got to figure out a way to learn how to deal with these people.
Got it.
Yeah.
Aldwyn, I really did love your presentation, and you speak my language. You know, my business is called Unique Vibrations. What can I say? So I do a lot of work behind that as well. Excellent. And it was intentionally, that name was very intentional. When I said it, I did a lot of intention around the business. But I loved the cone. I loved the awareness cone of you know, how you go up the scale. And yeah, that was really interesting. And I should have got a screenshot and I didn't, but I'll go back.
Oh, well, do you want me to?
No, yeah, look.
Go back to that screen? Yeah.
That's
okay.
Great.
I'll go back to it. It is actually on Google. You can find it on Google as well, but just to make it easy for you, I'll just go straight back here.
Perfect, thank you.
And just on Candace's point, I'd love to discover that or have a look at that more with you, that because there are some amazing men out there who are also very spiritual. So, for example, Roy McDonald from One Life, he's a billionaire. I just did a 3-day event with him last week, and he's very spiritual. He's he runs 70 companies, got multiple property deals. And he's a very spiritual aware guy. So they are out there as well. There are those kind of people as well.
I think a lot of men are, they just don't admit it out loud.
Right.
Yes, I think you're right there, Janet.
I'll just make that full screen for the screenshot.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. There we go.
Perfect. That's great. I can't see what I'm doing here, but that's fine.
Yeah, take a photo of that. Yeah. So there's ways definitely you could get the message out. I mean, you don't have to talk about the chakras and all of that business.
No.
But just getting them conscious to, where their energy's at. There's ways you could word it without sort of being too woo-woo, Yeah. So, I'd love to explore that further with you. It's probably
absolutely. I'd like to catch up with you, Aldwyn.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to chat, just reach out. I do have a Calendly as well. I'll put that link in, but I just need to update the dates, the times on it. Or just reach out, send me a private message on Facebook. Or if you want to take up that offer, the 197, then just reach out as well. We can do a strategy session and get you the book and come to one of the events, which will also give you some good insight as well. Have you got that? Everyone got the screenshot there?
Yep.
Okay, so take that off, stop share. We can see each other again. Beautiful. And that's great, Donna, that you enjoyed it as well. Yeah, I think this scale of consciousness, you can use it for each of your businesses because it really is relevant to everything we do in life. It's I actually I'd heard about this a while ago, but it was actually at a Dr. Espen quantum event that this is the actual the diagram that was in a 3-day quantum event that I attended. And when I saw the diagram, it just shifted everything for me, because I'm very visual. And so even though I'd heard about this frequency vibration, I'd heard about it, but it wasn't until I actually saw the diagram that it's kind of really hit home for me. And it's also, as I say, allowing ourselves at times, of course, we're going to go into these lower places. It's not natural to be always high up here. So, to allow that to happen too, and to sort of flow with wherever the energy is going. There's going to be times we're going to be triggered and all those things, right? And so it's all strengthening us up each time. I believe every time we have a breakdown, there's always a breakthrough around the corner.
Exactly.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Those were my words I used this morning with Janet, actually.
Oh, really? Oh, there you go. Oh.
Yeah, they were too. Oh, and I think that's just another one of the gifts of Key Business Network, the connecting of people together and being your true authentic selves and sharing what we know with each other honestly. Once we've developed that know, like and trust, that's the heart of networking, isn't it? The know, like and trust is the heart of networking, and we're very fortunate with Key Business Network to have members that can connect on that level, bring in speakers like Aldwyn on that level that can bring us the positive vibes, which is great. Like we could have someone else come in and talk about publicity till the cows come home, so to speak, and that's just us going blah, blah, blah. But if you're being true and want positive publicity, the tips that were shared today are just gold for us all. And I thank you again, and we will have you back again.
Thank you so
doubt.
much. Thank you. It's been an honor.
So that brings us to the end of our KBN Online. Now there isn't another. Our KBN Online is fortnightly, but the next fortnight is Good Friday, so we won't be having one that morning. Our next one will be on the 29th of April, so we have a month between onlines. And let all the other members that you know about KBN Online, let guests know about it, because they can become members of KBN, whether they're unable to go to a meeting because of the day or the time or the location. They're from places like Deirdre that was with us earlier from Mackay, where KBN isn't yet represented. They can take out membership with KBN online. There is a different membership structure. It's a one-off joining fee of $100, an annual membership of $500, and online meetings are free, as you know, as members of KBN Online. So we have the online meeting as a separate group, but it's also an included group for every other member of KBN. No matter what group they're a member of, they're automatically a member of KBN Online for the pure purpose of connecting and sharing and developing that know, like, and trust as a whole, as a network. So thanks for joining us today. If you haven't already copied the chat box, I'll be emailing that out to you with some links as well. And I'll see you all in a month. For those that I only see online, those that I see face to face, I'll see you in a few days or a week or two at the most. So thanks, everybody, and we'll talk again.